This question comes from Cal Brown, and he asks, should the Japanese terminology be removed from the gradings in Australian martial arts academies? And we'll communicate that as basically any martial arts academy. Most students these days come to learn martial arts for self-defense and confidence, but many are struggling with the terminology side of the gradings because senior students and adults find it very difficult to learn a new language as well as self-defense. Should we fail them for this based on tradition, or do the gradings in English as they came to learn to be safe and confident, not to learn a new language? Your thoughts? I think there's one factor that can really help answer this question more than anything else, and that's, what does your school purport to teach? Are you a reality-based self-defense school that focuses on very important topics but are strictly self-defense, street-type environments? Or are you a Do-style art, like Karate-do, Taekwondo, Aikido? Things that purport to have a fuller circle of experience: philosophy, culture, mindset, technique, wellness. If you're one of those arts, that's one thing. However, if you're a self-defense and strictly street scenario-based or military-based school, then you can say terminology should not be a part of what you do. It should not be a fail factor, because what you're doing is you're letting that terminology get in the way of your singular purpose. That's increasing street confidence and increasing technical capability. However, on this side of things, when you need to understand the philosophy of something that's multiple hundreds, perhaps thousands of years old, you need to understand the different aspects that come together that have made it what it is today. Then the natural language of that style can actually be very beneficial and very important to passing on that tradition. So think about it from a technical standpoint. A Gedan Barai is not the same thing as an Age Uke. So one is a hard style block, while the other is a sweeping style block. So if I just said upward block and downward block, those same types of discrepancies, details, are not really communicated the same way. It takes more words for me to finally get that out to you. However, if I understand the nature of what's being said, I can understand it on a surface level, the sweeping versus the hard. However, I can also begin to understand some of the perhaps mental connections to it as well. How's my body moving? What shift am I using? Where's my weight distributed to use this properly? All of this can be sort of inferred from the different terminology used. There's also a cultural preservation factor, where you're purely trying to keep true what was passed down from generation to generation. So in that way, it helps it become an actual art, as opposed to a tool strictly for self-defense. So while the terminology may slow down slightly the overall technical understanding because your mind is focused on that instead of the task at hand, overall, it helps inform the experience. My personal opinion, and the way I train, and it's just me, is that I include terminology as an important part of what we do. And as a teacher, I use it all the time, so that way, hopefully students can osmosize it more and more. However, I personally don't include it as part of tests, just for some of the reasons you cite. Some people can have a lot of difficulty with learning a new language later on in life, and I don't think that should be a particular stumbling block that halts their entire progress. But to be honest, who really cares about rank anyway? I mean, what does it matter how many stripes or patches you have? I mean, isn't it really the knowledge you're after? So if your school decides to hold you back because you don't learn some words or something like that, who cares? I mean, it doesn't matter. Just keep learning as much as you can and improving your study as much as you can. That's really what counts.